Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a framework that is absolutely essential for capturing attention in our, let's face it, incredibly noisy world. We're digging into the key ideas from the book Hook Point by Brendan Kane, which is all about how you can stand out when you literally only have seconds to make an impact.
All right, let's just dive right in. The core problem that every single creator, every brand, every business is up against today is a simple but huge one. How in the world do you get anyone to pay attention to you
when you're competing with over 60 billion, billion with a B, digital messages being sent out on all kinds of platforms every single day? I mean, just think about that. It is an unbelievable amount of noise.
So this absolute fire hose of information has totally changed the game for how we communicate. It's forced us into what the author calls a 3-second world, a place where getting someone's attention for just a moment is the only currency that really matters.
And to put that into perspective, think about this. Back in the 1970s, you or I might have seen around 500 ads a day. Today, that number is way, way up, somewhere between 4,000 and 10,000. So, our brains have had to adapt by just getting really, really good at ignoring almost everything.
And that's exactly why platforms like Facebook now say a video view counts at just 3 seconds. They know that's pretty much all the time you have to give someone a compelling reason to stop their scroll and actually watch what you've made. 3 seconds. That's your entire window.
So, how on earth do you win in this kind of environment? Well, the answer, according to the book, is all about mastering a concept called the hook point. You need to think of this as your new secret weapon.
So what is it? A hook point is basically a carefully designed piece of communication. It could be a phrase, an idea, an image, whatever, that's built to just slice through all that noise and grab attention, like right now.
Now let's be really clear about something, because this is a super important distinction. A hook point is not clickbait. See, clickbait gets your attention, sure, but then there's nothing there, it's empty. A real hook point, on the other hand, is tied to an authentic story that actually gives people value and builds trust.
Okay, let's make this real. Let's see what this looks like out in the wild, with 3 game-changing examples of hooks that I bet you're going to recognize.
Remember this one? This simple, just 2-word phrase was Netflix's original hook, and it was pure genius, because it went straight for the biggest single frustration that everyone had with their main competitor back then, Blockbuster.
And that right there shows you the power of a great hook. It wasn't just some catchy slogan. It was a solution to a problem everybody hated. That simple promise got millions of people to try this little startup, and well, it paved the way for it to become the monster it is today. Now Nike, they play a different game. They often use a different kind of hook. They tap into huge cultural moments, and by sponsoring a controversial athlete like Colin Kaepernick, they tied their brand to this incredibly powerful message. Now, the source material frames this as a masterclass in strategic hooking. It was a huge risk, for sure, but it connected on a deep level with their target audience, who really value brands that take a stand. And the results? They speak for themselves.
Man, who could forget this one? The Blair Witch Project became an absolute phenomenon with this creepy tagline. You combine that with the whole found footage marketing, and you've got this unforgettable viral hook that just completely blurred the line between what was real and what wasn't.
See, the hook wasn't really the movie itself. The genius was the whole story around the movie. They were putting up missing person posters for the actors. They made everybody ask that one question. Wait a minute, is this real? And that question, that was the hook.
Okay, so you see these incredible examples, and the next question is obvious, right? How can you start building your own authentic hooks? Well, the book gives us a pretty clear framework to work with.
It all starts with this 5-step process. First, you study what's already out there. Then, you've got to look inward and figure out your unique value. Now, step 3 is key. You have to actually listen to the conversations your audience is already having. That's where the gold is. Then, you package it all up so it's simple and easy to get. And finally, and this is so important, you test and tweak and test and tweak. It's not about being perfect on day one. It's about evolving.
Now, a huge part of an authentic hook is trust. And the author shares these amazing tips from an FBI behavior expert. And it makes perfect sense, right?
If you want to find a hook that truly solves a problem, like Netflix did, you first have to genuinely ask about their challenges and listen with your full presence. It's that kind of deep understanding, making people feel truly heard, that turns a clever line into something that really connects. The book also brings up this really fascinating model about communication styles. The big takeaway here is that people have different languages. Some people, the thinkers, respond to logic and data. But look, that's only about a quarter of the population. Others respond to emotion or values or humor. A really killer hook finds a way to speak to more than just one of these styles. And that's exactly why that Nike hook works so well. It wasn't about logic, it was about belief and values. It connected on a totally different level. Okay, but here is the final and maybe the most crucial takeaway from all of this. A great hook, it is not a permanent solution. You can't just find one and call it a day. Yeah, over time, even the most amazing hooks start to lose their punch. It's a thing called hook fatigue. It happens either because your competitors copy you until your idea isn't special anymore, or the audience just gets used to it and it stops being interesting. It's like a great joke you've heard one too many times.
Let's just look at Netflix one last time. No late fees was an amazing hook, but it had a shelf life. They knew they had to keep innovating. So they went from that to creating their own original content, to basically inventing the whole binge-watching model we all know now. They had to keep evolving to keep us hooked. And that leaves us with this final thought to chew on. The hook that got you where you are today, it probably won't be enough to keep you there tomorrow. You have to keep innovating. So the question isn't just about what your hook is right now, it's about what your next one is going to be.